You can be a strong, independent woman and still not be healed because the society has somehow taught us that becoming independent and strong is a new version of healing. So, what did we do? We became independent, we built boundaries, we no longer tolerate disrespect, we became successful, and we became the girl that doesn't need anybody. And now, according to society standards, you should be healed, right? But somehow, at the end of the day, even with all this fame and success and independence, you still end up attracting toxic relationships. And somehow, despite of listening to all these influencers, you are still feeling lonely. You're still not able to open up and connect with other people. And even though the external reality might have changed, it kind of feels like you're living in the same world internally. It's the same pain, it's just a different phase, but the same pattern. And that is when you realize that healing is not the same as becoming strong or independent. And that's when you realize that healing and changing your identity into somebody new who attracts something different and better into their life, these are two different things. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Nifty, and here we talk all about mindset, manifestation, and personal development. And this video is inspired by something that I saw recently on the internet regarding the relationship with Wizard Liz and Landon. I know there's so much going on in there. So a quick backstory about Wizard Liz and Landon is Wizard Liz is like a really popular influencer who talks about empowerment, getting out of toxic relationships and things like that. And she's somebody who has a pattern of being abused by men. It started with her dad, then her ex-boyfriends, then another ex-boyfriend, and now the latest one is her baby daddy, Landon. And the pattern that we see here is no matter how independent, how rich, how successful, how beautiful, how perfect she has become, she has somehow not been able to break free from that pattern, from the identity of being that girl who gets cheated on. And despite all that, she still hasn't changed the pattern that's running her life. But watching that video made me realize that you can actually be strong, independent, and do all those things, become successful, but still not be completely healed. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about how changing your identity is actually just as crucial as healing. Stick with me because I'm gonna tell you 5 steps that you can use in your daily life to change your personal self-concept so you no longer just heal, but you also change your ability to attract new and better things into your life. So the problem right now is a lot of people confuse empowerment with healing. Yes, empowerment is super important, especially for women. Boundaries are important, self-respect is important, but being emotionally guarded is not the same as being healed. Because some people, they don't heal, they just become harder to access. What they do is they literally just isolate themselves, they cut people off from their life, and because there's no longer any triggers that are triggering you, you just feel this fake sense of safety and security and peace because you have literally isolated yourself and disconnected from the world. Because some people don't heal, they just learn how to avoid their triggers better. And some people, they take this pain and turn this into a passion, into a drive, into success, into income, and they turn that into freedom and independence. But that still does not mean that you have healed. Because I want you to ask yourself this question. If you had truly healed, then why does the same pattern from the past keep repeating itself again and again? Why do people keep attracting the same people who trigger the same wounds in the past? It's because the wound has not healed. Because after becoming independent and successful and having all the things that you want, but when it comes to relationships, if you're still feeling fear, anxious, you're scared of abandonment, control, obsessive, and if you mistrust the other person, then baby girl, at some point you have to stop looking at everybody else and look at yourself, okay? Because manifestation is not only about what you consciously want, but it is also about what your subconscious believes and expects is normal for you. So recently I watched this whole Wizard Liz and Landon situation, and it kind of reminded me of something. That you can be successful, you can be beautiful, you can be rich, you can be powerful, you can be admired by millions, and you can still repeat the same emotional patterns. Because external success does not automatically mean healing your internal wounds. A person can inspire millions and still operate from a place of a wounded inner child. And this is not judgment, okay? This is awareness. This is about using the information that we have to learn, to get better, so we don't end up making the same mistakes that other people did. Because so many women get stuck in this cycle. Because externally, they become successful, but internally, they're always feeling abandonment, pain, mistrust, inconsistency, betrayal. And because they have not changed their identity yet, that's gonna keep repeating. Things are gonna keep happening till they say, oh, you know what? All men are the same. I'm not gonna do this anymore. So the main point is that healing is understanding your wounds, and identity work is becoming someone who no longer operates from these wounds. And these are two very separate things, okay? Like therapy can help you understand your wounds and heal from the past, but if you don't change your self-concept, you're still going to end up manifesting and attracting the same things from the past, because subconsciously that is what your brain is expecting to happen. So I'm going to tell you 5 steps now, okay? And these are 5 steps that are going to change your self-identity. Not just heal yourself, but changing your internal identity. So step number 1 is stop identifying with the trauma. Okay, baby girl, let me tell you what. There's something that has gone wrong in every single person's life. But if you sit there and talk about your past and how everything was so bad, all the baddest things that happened to you, and you're constantly identifying and thinking about those things, then you cannot build a new life if you're constantly stuck in the past. Because if your identity is about, oh my god, all men are like this, men always disappoint me, I'm the girl who always gets hurt, and if you're constantly living in that victim mindset, and if you've labeled people or yourself in a certain way, then that is going to show up again and again in your reality. Because when you say something, when you put a label on something that, okay, all men are like this, then your subconscious is going to look for proof to confirm that what you are thinking, what you've put in your subconscious is true. So no matter how good a guy is, you're just gonna be there sitting and waiting for one wrong thing that he can do, so your subconscious be like, yep, I told you, all men are the same. Because your brain will recreate familiarity before it creates happiness. Step number 2 is stop operating from a survival energy, okay? Okay, let's be honest. So many of us women in today's age, we are so strong and independent, not because we want to, because we had to, okay? It was a survival instinct. It was something we needed to do in order to survive. But let me tell you, hyper independence is not empowerment, because sometimes it's self-protection. Because when you operate from a survival energy, you are going to attract other people who mirror that energy. And when you're hyper independent, you are also very much in your masculine energy. And when you're in your masculine energy, one of 2 things is going to happen. 1, you're either going to attract toxic masculine men who want to humble you, or 2, you're going to attract feminine men who are inspired by the masculinity that they see in you. So most times this is gonna end up in a battle for control, there's a power struggle, there's emotional inconsistency, and of course toxic masculinity in this relationship. So you need to calm down and stop operating from a survival energy, because softness is not weakness. Softness is part of the feminine energy, because you become soft when your nervous system starts to finally feel that it's safe enough to stop fighting. Step number 3, change your self-concept. Okay, so your self-concept, the things that you tell yourself every single day, is what is going to determine what you attract into your life. So if deep down you have these beliefs that, oh, love is painful, and finding a love that lasts for a lifetime is hard. Love is something that is earned. If somebody gives you something, you have to give something back in return. Nobody's going to give you anything until you give them something. Like, all these statements, they're not true, but these are the things that we keep telling ourselves on a daily basis, and that becomes our subconscious reality. So even when healthy love does come into your life, because you're operating from this old self-concept, you're going to sabotage it. Because when something new comes into your life, but you're looking at it from the lens of the past, how are you going to move forward with that? If a new relationship comes into you, but you are constantly comparing him to your ex, your trashy, useless ex from the past, then that is not fair. That is not fair to you. That is not fair to the new guy that's in your life. And that is not fair to the life that you're trying to create. So you have to start seeing yourself differently, not as somebody who's trying to avoid pain, but as somebody who naturally experiences love, abundance, being taken care of, being being pampered, being treated like a queen, like a dream. Stability, abundance, like all these things, this should be your new self concept. You should think of yourself as somebody who receives these things naturally. Why? Because you're worthy. Because I say so. That is it. There doesn't have to be an explanation. As long as you keep telling yourself something again and again, your subconscious is going to believe it. Step number 4, stop projecting the past onto your future. The number of times I have sabotaged a really good relationship that could have led into something beautiful just because I was projecting my past onto that current present relationship and destroyed it. Like the number of times I've done that, like I can't even tell you. Because when you're operating from the past, you're constantly waiting for something to go wrong. Like there could be a guy that shows up and does 90% things right and does one thing that's wrong. And you're like, oh yeah, this is the same like the guy from the past. This is exactly the same. And your brain goes, oh my God, this is just like before, red flag, gotta delete him. And let's be honest about something. Healing requires a little bit of discernment and distance, like just taking some time for yourself. Because how else are you going to change your self-concept if you're constantly inside a trigger? If you're constantly surrounded by people who are triggering you, you're in a relationship, the man's triggering you, it's kind of hard to work on yourself. So healing does require a little bit of discernment for sure. And baby girl, let me tell you, not everybody is your ex, not everybody is your past. So stop filtering your reality through the lens of the past and start looking at things for what it is and assuming things that you want it to be rather than assuming the past. Step number 5, create evidence for your new reality. Identity shift happens through repetition, through daily rehearsals. Because every single day you have to keep choosing the new version of you again and again till your subconscious starts believing that, okay, this is normal. This is Nifty now. She's somebody who's loved, who's pampered, who's spoiled. Like all these high value men, they just want to date her because she's so nice, she's so feminine, so soft. And you know what? She's deserving. She's deserving of all these good things in the world just because she exists. She doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to prove her worth. She doesn't even have to get physical or intimate with them. Everything just flows to her because she's a goddess and because she believes it. And that is why God gives her everything she wants. This should be your new identity. And this is something that you need to keep telling yourself every single day. Anytime a man doesn't show up the way he does, it's divine protection. Because God only sends the best of the best to me, okay? So when you start doing this, you are choosing peace over chaos. You are choosing softness over control. You're choosing truth over fear. And you're also choosing self-worth over survival. And your new identity is not going to be built overnight, okay? It's gonna take time, but in these small moments of doubt, in the moments when you feel like things are not working out and you're scared and you're anxious and you fear the future, that is when you have to confirm. That is when you have to reinforce your faith. That is when you have to tell yourself that, okay, this is my new identity. I'm going to stick with it and follow it with a blind faith. I know sometimes it's hard. Sometimes when 3D world is showing you something that you don't want, but you still have to believe the things that is shown to you in your soul. Changing your self-identity is one of the most important things that you can do to manifest the things that you want. And I learned this the hard way because I was just like you guys. I used to go on YouTube and I would watch all these influencers talk about boundaries, self-respect, personal development, being the high value woman and not letting anybody ever disrespect you. So what did I do? I did all of it. I took all their advice. I became that girl. I became confident. I became independent. I made a lot of money. I became successful. I became untouchable. But the truth is that I didn't heal. The truth is that I just became emotionally guarded. I became hyper masculine and I was operating from a very much survival mindset. And as a result, I was attracting men into my life who were highly insecure, narcissistic, emotionally unavailable, or just toxic, like just ghosting. And the reason these men came into my life was not because they wanted to protect me or build with me or emotionally connect with me. They were attracted to my masculine energy, okay? To what I could provide, to my power. And that is when I realized that I wasn't allowing myself to soften, to receive, to be in that feminine energy, to be able to trust and connect with people again. Because I was analyzing everything that was happening from the vision of my past. I was expecting and waiting for disappointment before it even happened. And I was expecting things to go wrong on every single point that love did not even have a chance. And that is when I realized that healing is not just about understanding your trauma and making peace with the past, but it is also about changing who I was being, what I thought about myself, and becoming someone who does not let that past life repeat again. So if you feel stuck in this cycle, in these repeating loops, know that you are not broken, okay? This is just a pattern that you're living. And the good thing about patterns can change. But real healing requires two things: healing your past and changing your self concept. Because when you do these two things together, your life will change so fast and so beautifully, and you will literally attract all the things that you want. And you will also not sabotage it because you're no longer living from your past. You're going to be a new you who's capable of holding all this abundance and blessings. You're going to feel safe being loved the right way. And the moment you stop identifying yourself from that past hurt version of yourself, that is when everything will start to change. And that is when you stop attracting survival and you start attracting abundance, peace, and love into your life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You made some good takeaways about what you want to do moving forward in your life. And please do like this video and subscribe to my channel. I do come out with a new video every week. Sending you guys lots of love and healing, and I will see you in another video. Bye.